Hello everyone, how's it going? So yesterday Dragon Age the Veilguard finally launched. I'm a massive Dragon Age fan. I've played every major installment. Dragon Age Origins, Awakening, Dragon Age 2, and Inquisition. I did 100% Dragon Age Origins, Awakening, and 2. I didn't do Inquisition because I'm not really sure why. I think it was just like one of those games that didn't click as much as Origins did for me, and I was kind of disappointed with the ending of Inquisition. Regardless, like this game launched and it's been oversaturated with controversy when it came to this game. Most of the people who made BioWare what it is gone. The Doctor founders are gone, and it's just like a lot of people were questioning whether this game would remain loyal to what set up the franchise for what it is, because other than Mass Effect and even Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age is one of the IPs that made BioWare what it is. And a lot of people were very concerned when we saw the gameplay trailers, when we saw that infamous like heist level trailer, which it was showing the characters like they were coming out of a like Marvel-esque movie, and the designs for the Darkspawn and the character designs were just really off-putting, considering this was a very mature title. Like if you play Dragon Age Origins, you'll understand how utterly violent, disturbing, and just grotesque that game is on a fundamental level. You think The Witcher is violent? Dragon Age's literal opening scene has you, well, there are many different ways the game's open because you pick your character, but with the established convergence point where you go into the Grey Warden ritual, you have to drink the blood of the Darkspawn, and there is a chance you won't survive. And one of the characters, they don't survive. One of the other initiates decides he doesn't want anything to do with it, and Duncan, who's been shown to be a very nice, kind-hearted character, just kills him right off the bat. And Alistair's just like, yeah, that has to happen because the origins of this ritual cannot be known toward the wider public, because the Grey Wardens are also seen as kind of like a violent organization. Either way, a lot of people were questioning the quality of this game, and now that it's out, well, like these numbers aren't bad, but they're also not what you would expect from a Dragon Age game. I was expecting at least 150,000 players because, like I stated, this is one of the crowning IPs from BioWare. And BioWare has been on the downslope. Like, there are new games like Mass Effect Andromeda, which I feel like gets a lot of bad rap. Like, don't get me wrong, when the game launched, it was a horrible experience with all the glitches and problems. But I think after all the glitches and problems were resolved, the game is good on its own merits, I would argue. Like, it just has to live up to the original trilogy, which also had issues with how the original Mass Effect 3 ended, and it was so bad that Doctor founders decided to leave. That's kind of the rumor there, but they left almost right after Mass Effect 3 launched. But yeah, and then when it came to Anthem, which was its own like tragedy, like it fell from grace. It was a horribly developed game. From Jason Schreier's article, went in detail about that. Not to mention, despite it selling millions of copies, you have to remember, Anthem was actually a commercial success. It was a failure of a live service game, but it sold millions upon millions of copies. But the reason EA deemed it a failure was because they were hoping that it would become the next Destiny 2, which it didn't. And now Destiny 2 is on the way out. Either way, I just want to establish, like, BioWare has been not exactly delivering on the quality that we expect from this company. Granted, like I stated, most of the founding members of BioWare, the people who made Mass Effect and Dragon Age, have moved on to smaller studios. And yeah, it's not looking good. And when you look on the Steam page, yeah, it's on mostly positive, and that's a great thing. But when I saw this yesterday, it was at a mixed rating. Granted, that could be due to review bombing. Like I said, this game was heavily negative criticized leading up to its release. A lot of people were questioning the quality of this game. But 4,000 reviews also isn't exactly great for a big budget AAA game from BioWare. Like, if this was a newly established studio, even if it had the backing of EA, 4,000 reviews would be really good. But 4,000 reviews from a BioWare AAA project from a IP that is widely acclaimed, and the first game in like 10 years in this established franchise, yeah, 4,000 is not great on one of the biggest PC markets on the planet. Like, let's just state facts for what it is. And just, I hope this is a pretty good evidence of that, is when you compare it to a game like Life is Strange Double Exposure, which is a very niche title. It's a narrative-driven game. Yeah, this franchise is well known among a lot of people. They do love it, but this caters to a much, much smaller audience in comparison to Dragon Age. Yeah, it only has around 1,500 reviews compared to 4,000, but this number should widely dwarf Life is Strange Double Exposure in every way. Like this, I would expect would be around 10,000 reviews for a big budget AAA game from BioWare compared to like, Life is Strange Double Exposure. I'm not trying to knock this game. I played it. I platinumed the game. I'm about to do a review for it. But it's just really odd that a game this niche is like 1,500 reviews. Granted, it did come out 2 weeks ago, technically as an about 2 weeks ago, for early access for the first 2 episodes, and now the full release is now available. Still, it's a little weird. But the bigger argument, I would say, is Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, this is the free beta that's now available for everyone, and this has around 400,000 people. Granted, it's Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, Monster Hunter has become a massive franchise ever since the release of Worlds, which brought the game to more people who were able to experience the game. Like, before, it was only really released to a niche audience, and now it's become one of the biggest franchises in Capcom since it was widely available to more players, not only with Monster Hunter Worlds, but Monster Hunter Rise, which came to Switch first, and then eventually other platforms, which also has a really big audience. I loved Worlds. I put over 100 hours in that game. It was freaking amazing. I haven't played the beta for this yet because, again, I've been so busy. Life is Strange, Dragon Age, Black Ops 6. I haven't played Dragon Age yet. I still have to do the veteran difficulty for Black Ops 6. But this right here should be very, like, more people want to play this free beta than they want to play a AAA BioWare game, which is very concerning, especially a Dragon Age game. I need to really hammer that in. Dragon Age is doing less than, like, it's not even a 10th. Like, it's like quadruple their numbers. Granted, it is free, but nevertheless, still, like, look at this. This is freaking insane. And before you say, like, it's a free thing, anyone will want to try this, remember how Concord delivered when it had its free beta? Not exactly great. Just because something is free doesn't guarantee its success. It also has to have good popular stand-in. It has a great word of mouth. Like, I've heard nothing but positivity among this beta. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Capcom creator. I'm part of their Capcom creator program. I've just heard nothing but positive things about this. No one has, barely any negativity around this entire thing. Whereas Dragon Age Veilguard, it's becoming more and more concerning because I've heard rumors that they're actually banning people off the Reddit forum for this if you are associated with another forum that they feel like is problematic for this. It also doesn't help that the reviews that came before this game's launch all mirrored the same language patterns. It was more about ideology than the actual game. Like, whenever I argue for a game, you need to argue for the game's merits, not what it represents, I would argue. And a lot of the game's reviews mirrored representation rather than the game's core, aspects. There were a couple of reviews that gave it for what it is and gave it high reviews, which I fully respect, but there were a lot more reviews were established in it based on ideological inclusions within this game rather than the game itself, which really didn't rub people the right way. But like I said, there are more people who are negatively receiving this game than there are positives, and seeing that there's a lot of censorship going around with this game, like I said, banning certain people on the subreddit accordingly as long as they're associated with certain other Reddits. And it's like the whole review process where people were denied codes because they didn't give the preview event favorable coverage. And that's a conspiracy theory at this point. It hasn't been confirmed, but judging from the pattern and all the evidence provided, it looks really bad. It does. And I don't know how this game is going to rebound because it seems that more and more negativity is coming towards about this game. And maybe, I don't know. Like, again, I haven't played the game yet. I plan to try and 100% in and review it. But, yeah, based on these reviews, people are giving it its fair share. People are saying that it's good, but a lot of other people are saying it's kind of boring. And we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it just doesn't seem that this game is going to perform as past Dragon Age games have in its positivity. And I don't know, we'll wait and see. It's also really strange how they released this in an October release, especially October 31st, considering like that's when people buy mostly Halloween games. You can literally see a Halloween sale going on right now for EA games in general. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Like I said, I haven't played the game yet. I'll judge it on its own merits, but I'd love to hear other people's opinions and see how they think of this game. But for now, that's it from me. Goodbye.